This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Flyers from blue line to blue line. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Han & Stone Spa, Pat Dion Beverages, The Capitol Grill, Chickies and Pete's, Payroll Service Solutions, and Independence Blue Cross. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now, here are your hosts, former Flyer Brad Marsh and Paul Jolovitz.
And welcome everybody to Chickies and Pete's, beautiful Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, Pennsylvania. This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. We're here every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock talking with a different Flyer about the suddenly again red-hot Philadelphia Flyers who won 4 games in a row. My co-host tonight, Mr. Brad Marsh. How are you tonight, buddy?
Doing wonderful. How are you doing?
Very well. Nice to see the Flyers on fire again. And we have the ultimate on-fire Flyer with us, one of my favorite guests, maybe my favorite guest in the world. Flyer Hall of Famer from 2016. Should have been earlier. He was with the Broad Street Bullies, won 2 Stanley Cups. His brother Joe and he are legendary in Flyer lore. From Iceworks in Aston, Pennsylvania, Mr. Jim Watson. How are you, buddy?
Paul, I'm always good, man. I'm even better when I'm with you, Paul.
Always better to be with you guys.
And our man, Brad Marsh.
Man, Brad Marsh. That's right. Brad, all of a sudden, I mean, we said it was a crucial time for the Flyers going into the break. Lost 5 straight. First pothole in a great season. How are they going to come out of it? Sam Urson, 4-game losing streak. Boom. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, real good, needless to say. And then leading up to the trade deadline on March 8th, it's going to be Danny and company now have some interesting decisions to make. And it's a good position for a GM to be in when the players are making it hard for you to make the decisions on what to do. Very
hard decisions for Danny Briere. We're going to talk about that a lot tonight. Flyers been skating 7 defensemen. Is that to show the rest of the NHL they got the defensemen? Is it because they think that's towards perfect formula for a hockey team? 11-7, March 8th, like you said. Do they buy? Do they sell? How much do they sell? Do they sell Sean Walker now that Rasmus Ristolainen's hurt?
Well, I don't think they want to sell Sean Walker. He's playing extremely well for them.
They're going to get a first-round pick, though, Jimmy, for him. You got to take that, don't you?
Well, I suppose, but they got something good going right now, man. And that kid can play. What's he, 24, 25 years old?
A throw-in. I want to ask you about this comment, too, both of you guys. John Tortorella said, he was asked the other day about it, if they would listen, if people like Sean Walker were asked about by other teams, he said, we'd be dopes not to listen. He goes, you got to, everybody.
Of course you're going to listen, but they're not going to make that move unless it's really sweet. I mean, it's going to have to be a first-round pick, I suppose, but we'll see. Look, they're their number 2 team on defense, right? And he's had a tremendous season. I think he's much better than I ever thought he was. Brad, what about you? How do you feel about him?
Well, I agree 100%. I didn't know who the heck he was when he was a throw-in in the deal, but I don't follow the game like you. You mean we watch our Flyers, but I don't know who's out there. And I don't even want to say he was a pleasant surprise. He's been a heck of a surprise, and he's one of the reasons why we are a good team this year. And so, as Jimmy just said, it would have to be a heck of a sweet deal to move him.
Not just Sean Walker, but he and Sealer have been one of the most premier pairings in the NHL this year. Sealer blocks every shot in the world.
Yeah, but
they're tough to play against.
Well, he joined the team last year, and he was slated to be
6th,
7th, 8th. Yeah. But he has worked his butt off, and hey, I was watching the couple games, and that pair is on the ice in the last minute to play, and you just don't give those types of defensemen away.
No, you don't give them away, but the effort is there. The big heart, he's got a big heart, Sealer. You can see that.
Leads the NHL block shots.
Does he really? There you are. And but he just plays so hard. He's a rugged guy. Really battles hard. People pay the price that they come around the front of the net with him. Yeah. He still knows how to handle that situation. But they've been outstanding for them. They've just got a tremendous team. And you look at the Flyers right now. They're all having career years.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, every one of them, when I look at their lineup, every one of them is playing better than they did last year.
Yeah, and the thing that they have to guard against, and you see this happen at every trade deadline, there's rumors of this and rumors of this, and it's tough. And the one common denominator that we've heard about this Flyers team is the dressing room, is the atmosphere that Tortorella talked about last year. He wanted to create a better dressing room. Well, guess what? We have that dressing room. And so you start taking a piece out of that dressing room. We don't even have to talk about what they mean on ice, but what they contribute in the dressing room has to weigh into any conversation, because we've got a really good mix right now.
Yeah. Hey, you're right, Brad, but there's one overriding thing, too. It's how's the dressing room? How will this affect the team? But, guys, the bigger question is Jonesy and Danny have said they're not going to go all in for a Stanley Cup this year if they don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's that realistic right now, despite the fact they're playing unbelievable. What's more important, the culture or the future, Jimmy?
Look, I'm gonna beg to differ on you on that, Paul. I think the future is right now. I mean, when I look at the Eastern Conference, right? Who the supposedly the best team of the Rangers?
Probably Bruins,
okay.
Rangers.
You think the Flyers can't play with the Rangers and Bruins right now?
They'd be an underdog to either one.
Well, you know what? They can play with them.
They could.
Absolutely, they can play with them.
But how much that?
No, they can win right now. Can win. I'm not going to say that they're going to win right now, but they can.
Well, let me ask you. You're the perfect person to ask. I mean, Brad came in, couple close swings, but your situation, Jim, 7th year as an expansion team, the little engine that could, they were nothing. Came here. Your brother came. Bernie came. One after the other. Did you think by that 7th year you guys really had a shot in your dressing room at this time of the year? Did you guys think we got a real shot at the Cup, or we're just a good story?
You know what? The way we looked at it, honestly, the way I looked at it, I was so focused, just worrying about the next game. I didn't look too far ahead, because you lose your focus then and you get in trouble. So all you want to do is just win the next game. So when we won the first year, I can remember very clearly, we beat Atlanta the very first year, and well, we thought, this is wonderful, but now we go against the Rangers in the semifinals, and it's just win the first game. Don't think about winning the series. Just keep winning every shift, every period, every game, and then by that way, you don't lose your focus. You stay intense, and then you keep going forward. And all of a sudden, we beat the Rangers in 7 games. Now we're in the Stanley Cup Finals, for gosh sakes. So that's the way you got to look at it. And I don't think 1 year to the next. I mean, the Flyers are every bit as legitimate a Stanley Cup contender as anybody in the Eastern Conference. Now, people may laugh at that or disagree with me, fine and dandy. But the way I look at it, the Flyers, the skill they've got, the intensity they've got, they essentially outplay every team they play. I haven't seen many teams outplay them in the games.
No,
they haven't won all the games, but they have outplayed most of the teams they've played by far.
They play 200 feet. They play hard. Brad, you got 22 days to the deadline. Obviously, Carter Hart's not going to be back. Sam Ersson has established himself as the number 1 now, but do you take that big swing if you're buying, and whoever, I'm sure Danny's on the phone with every team every day, do you take that big swing and maybe trade a future number 1 pick or more if you think you got an offer? I mean, you have to say, if you're Danny Briere right now, you have to think in your mind, do I have, obviously you got a shot because you play the games, but do I have a realistic shot if everything goes right to win the Cup? If I do, I'm going to take some swings. If not, I won't. What do you do?
Well, I think there's a certain number of players that are non-negotiable. Not the Wayne Gretzky's of the world, granted he was traded, but there's a lot of young players that are just coming. As Jimmy said, there's a lot of young players having career years, and so they have a book on someone that's been in the organization for 3, 4, or 5 years. But that book is now closed, and they're being evaluated and given an opportunity to play now. And so there's a lot of players that they've forgotten about the past, and they're being judged on what they're doing now. So, yes, I think Danny will make a trade to improve the team, but he's not going to make a trade that jeopardizes the rebuild, if you still want to call it that.
Jim, why has Danny Briere came in last year, he can barely shave, he looks young, he is young, he's a rookie general manager, but he's been absolutely unbelievable. He's a patient guy, very smart guy, hasn't made stupid trades. Everybody makes a mistake every now and then. That's life. But why is Danny and Jonesy's leadership, why have Danny and Jonesy been so effective so quickly?
Well, I think the big thing is they've been patient. They just let John kind of take it, John Tortorella, and they've given them the leeway. Say, John, do take the team and do what you have to do. And by God, that's number 1 right there, that decision. Okay, don't interfere. Let the coach coach. And he's done a tremendous job with his coaching. He's made every player better on this team. And what I noticed, Brad, I don't know if you picked up on this, is the conditioning of the team and the speed. Okay, the speed they play with. And Tortorella, apparently that's the way he practices the team. They practice and they condition, and he has it all figured out. And they came back recently here, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they appeared to be tired, and he actually gave them 2 days off in a row. He sensed if the team was tired.
That's what a coach does.
And he gave them 2 days off in a row, and they came out and just played outstanding after that because he could sense that they were tired. So this is the type of coach he is. He's very bright. He has a good sense for his team.
All those practices that we got bag skated.
Yeah. You know what? At the appropriate Bradley,
that wasn't supposed to happen.
Bradley, at the appropriate time, they're fine. But you know what? When you get into the season, hey, listen. No, unless the coach thinks that you're, dogging it for some reason, but these guys don't because they know there's consequences if they don't play hard.
Well, in my opinion, hockey is the ultimate team sport.
Yeah.
Everybody plays. Everybody contributes, unlike the other sports. And when you talk about the success of a hockey team, it really is a team. And in this case, we have everybody, whether they're players or whether they're managers or the coach, everybody is working together and they get along together. Then I'll put in the front office at Flyerland. We are a cohesive unit, a team working together, everybody working for the common goal. That has not been the case the last number of years.
All right, so Ray Lewis made a comment once to the great linebacker of the Baltimore Ravens. He said, how much do they pay you to play in the NFL? He goes, they don't pay me anything to play on Sundays. They pay me from Monday to Saturday. How true is that, Brad, in the NHL? Obviously, you play the games. Everybody loves the games. How true is it that the games are a joy and they pay you to practice and work out and condition and everything between the games?
Well, first of all, I don't put any store in anything Ray Lewis says.
I'm with you on that.
Never been a fan of his. And,
you get the point, though.
I get tuned out whenever he promotes. The same as Snoop Dogg, for heaven's sakes. I don't know what the heck NHL's doing with Snoop Dogg. But anyhow, to play the game of hockey or any sport is a privilege. And I know it's a business now, but when we were playing, it was just an extension of our childhood. And, we played pond hockey, then we played a little organized hockey, and sometimes the organized hockey got in the way of your pond hockey with your buddies.
That's right.
And so when we played, like a lot of time, like pinch me, are we really getting paid to play professional hockey? And it was a wonderful career, and but practice, I loved practice.
Yeah.
And you worked hard in practice, and therefore the games were a little easier.
You two guys are workers, though. You two guys are 200-foot, hard-working, no-nonsense hockey guys.
So look at,
I'm only 165. I never went into the opposing end.
Listen, here's the deal with practice.
Yes, sir.
You got to be a good
practice.
You got to be a good practice player. You practice hard, and that's what Tortorella does. He at the appropriate
game
time,
situations.
He practices them hard. So when they come into the game, Paul,
Yep.
they're ready to play, and it just falls into play. It's just natural. They go out and just do it. All right. You don't have to overcoach them. The preparation is the key.
Well, he said something a couple nights ago, guys. It was interesting. Either one of you can comment on it. He said the teaching pretty much has been done for the year. Now it's about maintenance. It's about being able to replicate it and do it night after night after night. Obviously, he's going to coach every day, every game. What do you think he meant by that? Either one of you can.
Well, but actually what we just said here, it's already been done. It's already been grilled into the players. They know what they have to do. All right? He can't keep barking at them. He can't keep coming hard at them. I mean, he will if he needs to, but he doesn't want to. And if he has to, that player is likely going to fall back. All right? He wants the players now to assume the leadership role. Every one of them be a leader in there and do what the hell they're supposed to do. They've been taught that. Okay? That's why he talks, well, this guy's got good hockey sense. He's a smart player. He understands the game. He knows what his role is, and he just goes out and does it. Okay? He doesn't have to coach that guy much anymore.
Yep.
That's the key.
Did you guys ever play against each other?
Bradley and I?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think, did we, Bradley? You and I, you came, yeah, we did.
I started in 78.
That's right. You were in Atlanta, yeah. We played a little bit.
Well, give me a scouting report on each other if you could.
Well, Bradley's just a hard-working dude, man. Just stay out of his lane because when he comes after you, look out.
Yeah. You too. You were the same kind of player, weren't you?
Well,
a little more offensive.
I wasn't big as physical as Brad, but we tried to move around a little bit.
All right, how did you, Jim? You're not as big as Brad. That's obvious to anybody with eyes. So how do you're what, 6 foot, 180?
No, I was about 195 when I played.
How do you play bigger than you are? Because you did.
Well, no, just play hard. Play hard. That's the key. Play hard. Play hard in practice. Get prepared. So when you step on the ice, you're ready to roll. It doesn't matter how big you are, Brad. It's Paul. It's
size of the fight in the dog.
Well,
That's the size of the dog in the fight,
really
right?
The size of the heart, right? And the preparation you put in. You got to prepare. You got to take good care of yourself. You got to become an ultimate professional. All right. So when you go into the game, you're feeling very confident about yourself because you've worked very hard at it.
All right, let me ask you guys before we take our first break an honest question. I will answer this question. If you want to ask it back to me, I talk about my intensity and how I prepare hard. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail, all those analogies. Do either one of you guys, Brad, I'll ask you first. You played 15 years in the NHL. Do you ever remember, for whatever reason, bad day, incidents in your life, incidents in the world, whatever it is, where you kind of took a game off and were so embarrassed about it that it never happened again?
Well, the thing is you look back, and I'm not going to sit here and say that every game was an all-star performance, but
effort I'm talking about, not the performance, really.
No, the effort was there, but I had a coach early on that I was guilty of burning the candle at both ends, and I had convinced myself that I always gave 100%, and but he pointed out, because of my lifestyle, I was giving 100%. But I only had 75% to give. And
that's a good line.
And so there was a lot of times where you worked hard, but because you hadn't really learned what it took to be a true professional yet, that the end result wasn't quite what it should have been. And so I learned a lot early in my career, and that's why you need teammates. That's why you need a good dressing room and players to lead by example. And that happened when I was traded here to Philadelphia, and I walk into a dressing room with the Jim Watsons and the Bobby Clarks and so Bob Kellys and so on and so on.
Real quick, Jim, did it ever happen to you, the ultimate fire flyer, which I consider you to be? I can walk up and ask you what you like about bologna sandwiches, and the answer, it makes me want to eat a bologna sandwich. Did you ever take a night off? Did that ever happen to you?
I don't think I did, but I'm sure I did. I mean, but I certainly tried not to do it, right? But that happened. But I'm kind of similar to what Brad was saying. I mean, look, you're young when you come into the league. You think you got to kind of once you get you kind of get rolling a little bit. You get you feel good about yourself.
Yep.
And so maybe you start to take things for granted a little bit, and you just can't do that. And you get shocked back into, because the coach comes down and says, look, get it together here type thing. And you don't want that to happen, because the alternative is you're going down to the minors, okay? Or you're sitting out your healthy scratch, and that's the last thing you want to see. So you learn real quick. And fortunately, I think I was fairly mature for my age, so I learned really quick and didn't let it happen.
That's the way to be a pro athlete, folks. Play hard every night and get the most out of yourself. That's all you have to give. And we're going to talk about it with our guest Jim Watson and Brad Marsh. Flyers have won 4 in a row. We'll talk about maybe why. Tomorrow night, the Flyers take the ice. Saturday, the Stadium Series against the Devils, the outdoor game. We'll talk about that and much, much more. This is On the Ice from Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. We love it here. The energy, the TV, the vibes. Billy Warndell in the house. All kinds of good stuff. We're back with our Flyer of the Week right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Be the MVP of the big game party when you arrive with the Chickie and Pete's Big Game To Go package. It includes a half pan of each, our world-famous crab fries, tender and delicious Chickie's wings, classic or boneless, our packed and tasty classic cheesesteaks. Plus, it also includes 2 of your favorite Chickie's pizzas, available in traditional, pepperoni, or white. A big deal for the big game. Available for pickup 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. this Thursday through Sunday only at Chickies and Pete's.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700. Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday. With locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City, Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials in one place, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
Alrighty, back here at Chickies and Pete's. It is time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. You're listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, live from Chickies and Pete's, right here in Malvern on 1490 WBCB, WBCB1490.com, 107.3 FM. This week, our Fearless Player of the Week is Scott Lawton, whose 200-foot presence helped the team to 4 straight wins, scored goals, got assists, killed penalties, power play goal. Scott Lawton all over the place, 4 straight wins out of the break. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless. I'm going to bring up a topic, guys, that we may disagree on. I haven't broached it with either one of you guys like I do sometimes before the show. Morgan Riley, one of the top defensemen for the Maple Leafs, who the Flyers play tomorrow night. The other night they were playing Ottawa, yeah, and Ridley Gregg, one of the Ottawa players.
I saw the play.
All right, just for people out there that may not have, he had a breakaway with 5 seconds left. They're ahead. It's an empty net. And he stopped at the face-off circle and rifled a 95-mile-an-hour slap shot, kind of showing him up, obviously. Nothing that anybody should ever do. His own teammates admitted it. But I think Morgan Riley went way, way too far. Cross-checking him in the face. You can kill someone by doing that if he hits his head on the ice. I thought it was a Bush League act, but I thought the response was also ridiculous. Your thoughts, guys?
So, I don't think there was nothing wrong with what he did. I would have done it. I think Brad, I can't speak for Brad, but
what if he's
wrong with who did it? The guy that scored the goal?
Morgan Riley. Riley.
What if he killed him? Seriously.
Well, he wouldn't have killed him, but the guy deserved everything he got.
His hit was over exaggerated. He hit him in the shoulder.
And he's appealing the ruling, and I'm sure it'll be cut down. It should be cut down to maybe 2 games. You got to give him something. I understand.
I bet you $1 it's not.
Well, I know Gary Bettman's involved with it, but who knows? But listen. That would have caused a riot back in the day. That was just way over the top.
Broad Street bully look.
No, I mean, even, Brad, I'm sure I don't know, Brad, what do you think of the whole situation?
Well, I know of stories when a player did that or over celebrated a goal and they were missing teeth afterwards.
Yeah. Missing teeth
I
is
thought
one thing.
but I thought it was what the kid did. I forget his name, Greg or whatever.
Greg.
Ridley Greg.
Was Bush League. And I thought it was great what Morgan Riley did. I understand in this day and age you can't maybe do that. Maybe you should have just body checked him into the boards or whatever. But like to me, something should be done or said to the guy that started it.
So I think his own teammates understood that. Giroux was asked about it, and he didn't defend his teammate.
Well,
nobody did.
The problem was Riley Greg. He's the guy that is the problem in the whole situation. Absolutely outrageous what he did there.
All right, so our NHL stuff is rolling along this year. We're into February, the dog days. But now we have an outdoor game, guys, in Toronto tomorrow night against a Toronto-less or a Morgan Riley-less Toronto team. Saturday at the Meadowlands, 8 o'clock. Stadium series, outdoor hockey. I know you guys thinking about pond hockey back on the plains of Jimmy. You grew up in
British Columbia, beautiful British Columbia. Come on, Paul.
Brad
out there with the moose and the grizzly bear.
What's the little town you're from? I can't remember.
Smithers,
British Columbia.
Yeah.
Brad from
just
London,
south of Alaska, man. 100 miles from the Pacific Ocean, nestled right in the heart of the Rocky Mountains.
So if you're playing in this outdoor game Saturday night, how nostalgic, how does it get for you as a player to do that? Brad?
Well, I've been fortunate. I played in a couple of the outdoor games as an alumni back when they used to have an alumni component to these outdoor games. Personally, I like the concept. I like the atmosphere. I think they do too many of them. And the whole idea of, we're going back to our roots, we're playing outdoors, I would venture to say of the young kids playing in these games now, none of them have played outdoors. Because the minor hockey is so organized now. It's somebody that starts at 5 and 6 and 7 years old, and they're on a AAA team traveling all over the place. There's no time for them to play outside. But it is, as I said, it is a great atmosphere. I look forward to playing in the games when I was an alumni. I think it's unfortunate that they don't include an alumni component to these outdoor games anymore. In the Meadowlands, they could have had a great atmosphere with alumni from all 4 teams and divide them up and just play a fun game. Fans love it.
You know what? It's a spectacle. You know, that's what it is for hockey. It's a spectacle. You know what I mean? And it's like the pinnacle of hockey other than the Stanley Cup. And it's interesting to people watching. Maybe a casual fan gets a game outdoors and they, my God, look at these guys playing outdoors. And
well, Brad's making signs. I mean, obviously it leads to the question if Don Ohlmeyer, head of NBC Sports, once said, if the question's about sports, no matter what it is, the answer is money. Is that part of it? It's got to be part of it.
I'm sure it is, but listen, it's a unique way to present the game.
Yep.
That a lot of people have not played it that way, and so people find it fascinating to see that. And we're hoping it's going to be cold, I see, and maybe even some snow. So let's see what happens here. It'll be wonderful to see some snow.
Brad, remember the first...
Brad and I, we used to play in the outdoors.
Losing team shoveled.
And there would be, you have to shovel the rink off in between periods.
Well, remember what prompted this whole thing? The NHL did an outdoor game in Buffalo with, I think, Buffalo and Boston, or Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and it snowed.
Yes.
And the Winter Classic started all these games. You think it's
Calgary and Edmonton had the first game.
Did they have before the Winter Classic?
Oh, yeah. It was the Battle of Alberta. I forget the years and all that kind of stuff.
You know what? That was Montreal and Edmonton, Brad.
My bad. Montreal and Edmonton.
Montreal
Theodore had the...
It was like 20 below or something.
And Gretzky played, right? It was
he
the
had
only
the
alumni game he
Toucan.
played?
No,
Gretzky played that.
Yeah.
Montreal and Edmonton.
All right. Have they gone too far? I mean...
No, I don't think they've gone too far. I mean, look, I understand what Brad's saying. They got to be careful with it, right? But people are demanding it. People want it. The rinks, like for instance, Chicago just got it again for next year. Okay, the New Year's game. All right,
classic.
And they're thrilled with having playing at Ridley or
Wrigley Field.
Wrigley.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, they got to be careful of this because when they first started, it captured the world of the whole sporting, captured the imagination of the whole sporting world. Now the only people that really follow the outdoor games are the ones that live in that market. And so too much of a good thing, can come back and kick you in the rear end. I love the concept, and they just got to be, to me, they got to be careful.
Yeah, they got to be careful with it. I would agree with that. But
like a little while ago, they had the game during COVID in Lake Tahoe.
Yep.
Then they had a game down south somewhere, and they put cotton batting down on all the grass to make it look like snow. Maybe the wrong location.
How about the game in Dodger Stadium, for God's sakes, right? The Kings played who'd they play?
That's the game they had the cotton batting out.
The technology is going, so you can do it in 80-degree weather. And it's unbelievable.
You know what? But it's going to. I'm looking forward to watching it.
When we come back, guys, we're going to examine something. I'm on WIP also, and nobody wants to talk about hockey on WIP. And we say, when are people going to start talking about the Flyers? Maybe now, maybe now, maybe now. Hadn't happened yet. So I want to ask Jim and Brad, when is the Philadelphia area, which is the greatest hockey city in the country, when is it going to really kick in? I don't think it's going to kick in for the masses until the playoffs, until the Flyers skate in the Stanley Cup game, and then hopefully it'll be on its way. But we'll talk about that with Brad Marsh, Jim Watson, talk about all kinds of stuff, the deadline, Sam Urson, Carter Hart, hockey time on the ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross from Chickies in Malvern. Come on back, come say hi to Brad and Jim, get some signatures, and we are back after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and the big game is here. Your favorite all-you-can-eat specials are back during the biggest game of the year in pro football. Enjoy our incredible all-you-can-eat specials featuring succulent snow crab legs, classic boneless wings, and our world-famous crab fries. Watch the big game and enjoy the ultimate in-game all-you-can-eat experience. Available at participating locations. Restrictions apply. Reservations are recommended. Tickets at chickiesandpete's.com. Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700. Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday, with locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City. Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials in one place, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
We have such a good time every week with On the Ice. Terrific. Jim Jackson will be our guest next week at Rowan University for Brad and I. Jim Watson's here this week. Flyers are rolling, and it's time now for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. 22 days to the trade deadline of March 8th. Does Danny buy, sell, and how much? Flyer fans wait with anticipation. We're going to talk about the fans in a second. That was your Flyer Smart Stat of the Week, once again brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions, catering to small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. And guys, the fans are the linchpin of any organization. They've been the linchpin of the Flyers forever, with the Bullies, Jim, with Brad's teams. What do the fans mean to the Philadelphia Flyers? What do the fans mean to any team? But the unbelievable support they give you in this city, what does that mean?
They mean everything. I mean, without the fans, what the hell do we have, right?
Exactly.
Playing to an empty building.
Yep.
But no, the fans come in. They're wonderful, but you got to give them something to cheer about. You got to, and the Philadelphia fans are renowned for, they appreciate effort. They want to make sure you can, they don't want you to lose. They want to win, but they'll tolerate maybe a little bit of that, provided you're working hard and showing that you care.
They'd rather see an 80% team giving 100% than a very talented team half-assing it.
Yeah, it ain't gonna work. No. It ain't gonna work with them. You can't fool them. They become, and even though they hadn't been exposed when I played. They hadn't been exposed to hockey that long here, but they became knowledgeable fans pretty damn fast. And they understood it. Well, Gene Hart was very instrumental in that. He did teach the people in the Philadelphia region about hockey and how to the rules and what have you. He was very, very good that way. But the biggest thing is, and I suppose it's the case in all cities, the fans just want to see really good effort because they know then the team's got a chance.
Brad, you give that effort too. What were the fans like for you?
Oh, what are they like? They were great. I mean, we used to love coming out for a warm-up because they were all just riled up. Maybe they were drunk, I don't know, but they were just riled up as a visiting team. It was a tough place to play here in the 70s and the 80s, and you could hear the fear because back in those days there wasn't anything to do in these big beautiful buildings that they're building now. There's so much to do in the concourses, so much great food. Like back when we played, it was popcorn and beer, and that was and a hot dog that was cooked the day before usually. and so the fans were coming for the hockey game. Now fans at all sporting events, they're coming for the experience, and they like taking in the experience, all the stuff going on. And so you'd come out for a warm-up in Philadelphia, and the fans were, the whole lower bowl was already packed, and it was just a great atmosphere.
It is awesome, and the fans come to see players, and players play, fans cheer, and I think, Jim, I can't speak for sure, we've probably talked about this, there was another Flyer back to play for the Broad Street Bullies also, with the same last name as you, that I'm not sure whether you personally know or not, just skated the first time with a helmet in the alumni game, 7th decade, 80 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about Joe Watson growing up with the Flyers, how much he had to do with your career, and what it's like to see him now at 80 make every Flyer fan damn proud.
Well, you know what, Joe, I look at our team back then, right? We had, of course, Bobby Clark was our leader, and he was, in my opinion, the best leader I've ever seen, not only in hockey, but I was a big sport fan of all the sports, and I don't see a player that led better than Bobby Clark. But then you had a second tier of leadership, and I would say Joe would slot right in there.
Yep.
Okay, and he always brought a big effort.
He wore the A, didn't he?
For a couple of years he did. I'm not sure if he was the entire time, but But the thing about Joe was he led by example. I mean, he was very vocal at the same time, but he always worked extremely hard in practice, okay? And he was always prepared to play. And that rubbed off on other players. You see that when you're in the locker, especially with a guy like myself, a younger guy. You look around and you see the veterans. You just see how they perform, how they conduct themselves. And Joe was a leader in that sense. But he was always very, very positive and very vocal in a sense that, hey, guys, let's get going. And one of the biggest battle cries we had was never lose 2 in a row. If we lost a game, boy, I tell you what, we were so fired up for the next game to make sure we didn't lose 2. And that was, because that was a great way to motivate yourself. So that was one of the big things Joe said, never lose 2 in a row.
Wow.
And then never lose a period, that type of thing.
Sure.
So, you just kind of follow those mantras and you're going to be successful.
And you guys were successful and are successful these days. And there's a situation with the Flyers. I'm not going to bring up Carter Hart again, but I have to for this, in the sense that Sam Erson's taken the number 1 job away. Obviously, he was the number 1A before Carter Hart's situation. Carter's not going to be back this year. Flyers had to move on, next man up, and that man's Sam Erson, Brad. He broke a 4-game losing streak. First game out of the break. He's continued mentally and physically. Physically, we know he can do the job. He's been better than we expected, but the mental task that he has of manning the ship now. Cal Peterson's the backup. How proud are you of Sam Erson for what he's done and the manner in which he's had to do it that's kept this team afloat?
Well, I don't know. I think the press and even that statement is a little overstated. The mental preparation, and now he's this, and now he's been playing hockey all his life, and he's been working hard for an opportunity to be the top goalie. And so I just think, I'm playing tonight. I'm playing every night or most nights. I think he's just accepted the role and hasn't even really thought about it because he's pretty cool, calm, and collected customer. He just goes out and plays. And the thing is he didn't have his, he let 3 goals in. We won 4-3 the other night. We were always coming back. And to me, what showed his worth and why he's very worthy of being the number 1, he didn't get a lot of work in that third period, but he made 2 outstanding saves to keep us tied, or to get the one his first big save. We were still behind 1 goal. He's in it to win it, and I don't think he's worried about his personal stats. And his third period spoke volumes of who he is.
Just watching the guy, and what I've heard about him is that he appears to be very mature for a young man, right? Although he's 24, 25,
25,
I think. 25, yeah, but very mature, and so very grounded and focused. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low.
A lot like Pelle Lindbergh was.
Well, yeah, Pelle
was. He just come in and played, stopped the puck, and let a bad goal in. Oh well.
24, you were right. October 20th, it'll be 25. Yeah.
There you are. So, but mature. That's the word I would call for him. And when you're mature, you handle issues. It's the immaturity that gets you, okay? Because everybody's going to have a little bit of a downside, if you will. But he kind of reverses it real quick because he's mature enough to get himself thinking the right way again.
Well, Brad, you obviously went through this in your career when Pelle lost his life in a tragic accident. Bob Froese had to take over. And how hard was that transition? Obviously, there's nothing you could have done about it. What did that do to the team, and how much did everybody rally around Bob and any goalie?
Well, I don't know if we rallied around Bob, because Bob was a very good goalie at the time, and we rallied around each other. We became a very close team because of what we went through as a team. And we had a lot of team meetings, a lot of discussion, a lot of emotional team meetings. And so we rallied together as a team. I tell you what, though, is I still talk about this often. If you remember, the first game that we played after Pelle passed was against the Edmonton Oilers, who beat us the year before in the Stanley Cup Finals. Bob Froese got injured in practice, and we called Darren Jensen up. And I don't know if it was his first NHL game, but it was the biggest game of his life, of his career, and he went in. No one had even heard of Darren Jensen. He went in and played outstanding, and we beat the Oilers that first game when Pelle passed. And I'll still remember. So talk about a pressure situation.
Oh, yeah.
Darren Jensen felt it there, and the team really rallied around him.
Well, Tortorella talks about that. Every coach in every sport talks about it, but next man up. Somebody gets hurt, somebody gets kicked out, somebody gets a penalty. Next man up. The simple concept, next man up. Jimmy, I look at you today. You could play. If you were physically still in position to play, you'd be in the NHL today. I think Brad would too. You kept that mentality. What does next man up mean to you?
Well, listen, John Tortorella, he understands there's going to be injuries, right? So he's carrying he's got 7, sometimes 8 defensemen, and he's got these extra forwards sitting there, and he's got the guys playing regular down in the American League. So he's prepared, and next man up is just what it sounds like. You got to be ready to play, and you're a professional. That's your job to stay prepared. If you're not playing as much, or maybe you're sitting out for a healthy scratch or whatever, make sure you're working extremely hard, but keeping your mental approach the right way. Okay, don't get down, and just prepare. And then if you do that, when your number's called, you'll step right in, and that's as simple as that. But it takes a certain amount of maturity for a player to be able to handle that. If you're immature, there's no way you're going to. But I would say with Tortorella, you're going to grow up and be ready to play. Otherwise, you're not going to be around.
We've seen Owen Tippett grow up before our eyes. We've seen Travis Konechny and Travis Sanheim on defense, and other guys step up, Forster. But there's people on every team that are the worker bees, so to speak, people that nobody knows about, but they might be the heart and guts of the team. I'm going to talk about one of them with you guys. I'm sure you have plenty to say about him. I'll mention him when we come back, but every team needs the worker bee, and he is the ultimate worker bee. This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Flyers won 4 in a row, go for 5 in a row at Toronto tomorrow night, then play the Stadium Series game at the Meadowlands on Saturday. Nobody would be complaining about the AstroTurf of the Meadowlands. That'll be the first time in a while. We are back with Jim and Brad right after this. Stay with us, folks.
Paul, you're on fire. Hi, it's Pete from Chickies and Pete's. Join us for our special Valentine's menu through February 14th. Bring your Valentine to celebrate. Start with a heaping batch of our fresh raw oysters. Try our shrimp po' boy with fried shrimp piled high on a baguette with lettuce, roasted tomato, and a cherry pepper remoulade. Sticky lobster tails in a delicious sweet and spicy sauce. Or our gloriously messy bowl with lobster tails, snow and Dungeness crab. Valentine's specials that no seafood lover should miss. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700. Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday, with locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City. City. Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials in one place, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
All right, final segment. Glad for you guys to be here. We do this every week. I was thinking when we were watching the Super Bowl Sunday, Jim Watson with us.
Yep.
We know about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Back when you were dating Madonna, back when you were playing, and she was at every Flyer game. That'd be
she's not good enough for me.
I'll tell you what is good for you.
She would have been Miss Smithers.
What is good for you is Iceworks. The wonderful. I've been down there. You got figure skating, ice skating, hockey.
We run the gambit, Paul, and hockey and skating, man.
How does somebody get involved?
So I just want to encourage anybody out there that's listening, come and see us down there. We got all kinds of
in Aston.
Yeah, boys and girls hockey. We got men's and women's hockey, and all levels. And of course, we have figure skating.
Yep.
And
you've had Olympians there, right?
We got public skating. Come on and give it a try.
Give it a try. Iceworks
you have
in
skate
Aston.
rentals there too.
Oh, totally.
And skate rentals, absolutely. For people like me who can barely walk on skates. Brad Marsh here with us, along with Jim Watson. John Tortorella has done an amazing job, a tough camp. He's gotten good players to play real good. Owen Tippett looks like he's going to be a very good one. Konechny. He's gotten questionable assets to get into his system, and he's trusted them, like Morgan Frost, who's been scratched a bunch of times this year. Cam York, who came up with a lot of potential, a lot of pedigree. He's gotten him going on the whole defense. But there's a guy that every team needs. This guy. Brad played with guys like this. Jim played with guys like this. I didn't because I didn't play. But Garnet Hathaway was just kind of a rock'em sock'em robot for a couple teams. Comes to Philadelphia, and he has become an integral part. Who was your Garnet Hathaway, guys? Who was that guy that just did the dirty work? Not necessarily the fighter, but the dirty work on the fourth line, somebody that you remember and really respect.
So for me, it was the Bob the Hound Dog Kelly. I mean, there's no question about it. The Hound, Freddie would put the Hound out, get us going, get some energy going, run around the ice, bang people. And the Hound would score goals, too. I mean, he scored some big goals for us.
Stanley Cup.
But he was really integral for that. He brought the energy, and he was just a Flyer through and through, and just produced big time for us. And he was wonderful in the locker room. Always, got a good line. He's a comedian. He's like an amateur comedian.
We had him a couple weeks ago. He's great.
Yeah, outstanding.
Brad, you guys?
Well, I'm just thinking of our roster there. When I came in '81, the Flyers were kind of in transition at that time. Were they the Broad Street Bullies, or did they want to be this and so on? And, they brought up a young Dave Brown, and Brownie obviously was one of the toughest, if not the toughest or best fighter at that time. But Brownie worked his butt off and became a regular player. He scored goals, as Jimmy said about Hound Dog, and he became a reliable player. And when you have a tough guy on the ice that is a reliable player, that's what scares the other team. A tough guy sitting on the bench and he gets his 2 minutes a game or 3 minutes, it's not going to scare anybody. But when your tough guy is playing a regular shift, that's real important. And then in that time we had in '84, we had 7 kids under the age of 21, and with Brownie patrolling the ice, and we had Darryl Stanley and Glenn Cochran on the blue line. That gave these young kids an opportunity to grow up and maybe be a little tougher. And guess who came out of that mold was a guy like Rick Tocchet, who was the ultimate scary guy because he could score. And I always say about Talk, I would compare him to Terry O'Reilly. If you checked him in front of the net, they'd beat the crap out of you. If you left him alone, they'd score goals. And so those types of players are hard to defend against.
And listen, Tortorella's going to win the Jack Adams this year, likely. Tocchet doing an unbelievable job in Vancouver. Guys, I think it's time to stop talking about, hey, if the Flyers keep playing this way, they got a legitimate shot at the playoffs. They won 4 in a row. They got a little gap between them and the Devils. Top 3 in each division make it. If I had said to you at the beginning of the year, Brad, the Flyers are absolutely a playoff hockey team in this quote-unquote rebuild, everything's going to go right. I know you're a Flyer through and through. You work for the team. You got great heart. But you would have told me what?
You might have lost your show. Now, the thing is I think everybody was giving them the benefit of the doubt, and everyone realized that this was a rebuild, a retool. The last couple of seasons were so disastrous and so on and so on. But you know, a lot has been said about Danny and Jonesy and Dan Hilferty and the new regime. But I give a lot of credit, as Jimmy did earlier, to coach. He came in last year. He said right from the start, I got to change the culture in the dressing room. And so I think everybody was quietly confident that John was going to turn things around. Maybe not as many wins as we've seen, but as we've all said in the show tonight, the fans were going to be entertained and impressed with the work ethic. And so when you work, you got a chance, man.
Jim, you're one of the most optimistic and one of the most fiery people I know. You got an unbelievable personality. Everybody loves you. With that all said, Game 1, when they're dropping the puck, first game of the season, if I said to you $1 million on the line, bet one way or the other, Flyers make the playoffs or not, do you say yes at that point?
Yes, I did say it. So you asked me that when I came on the show earlier.
First guest.
And I said I thought they would make the playoffs if you go back and check the record.
Why'd you think
that? Because you know what? I looked at because the Flyers, first of all, with Tortorella, he's got a track record of reviving teams and bringing teams along, and they ascend the standings generally quite rapidly. Okay, so he's got a history on that. And but I look at the Flyer personnel, and you can see that they've got a lot of room to grow. And I also felt that Couturier and Atkinson were going to be coming back. Those are 2 integral parts.
We don't talk a lot about Couturier, but he's been so vital. Both Atkinson, but Couturier really.
Yeah, he's a leader, for gosh.
Yep. Plays all.
But Atkinson has been outstanding too. He had that dry spell, but Cam Atkinson, man, he brings it every night, gives it all he's got. And
they're a big reason the dressing room's better.
Yeah, and those 2 dudes obviously contributed big time. But then also, Tortorella got a hold of people like Travis Sanheim, who's had an outstanding year. He had a little dry spell there for a couple of weeks right before the All-Star break.
Yep.
But the kid has played outstanding for them, and he's led the defense, right? And then you've got Travis Konechny, who's been outstanding for them. He's been out wonderful.
All right, we got about a minute to go, guys. There's one area of the team that's not very good. It's gotten better. Zamula's played well. Power play is not very good. I like an area that doesn't work because you can see you're playing great and you have an area which you can improve a lot. One thing that can improve the power play to end the show, Jim.
Well, just get shots through. You got to get shots through and shoot the puck a little bit more. That's all I would say.
Don't play Gretzky.
Don't go around around the perimeter. And the NHL, in my opinion, has an issue with the power plays because they're kind of stagnant and kind of boring if you want to really a honest description of it. Because they just stand around the perimeter and move it around, and hell, nothing happens. And that wasn't the way it was at one time. Get the puck back one time back, and then just a wrister to the front of the net. You're outmanning the opposition. You should get the rebound. Or the percentages are you should get the rebound, all right, and maintain possession. But it goes around and around looking for the perfect shot. Well, hell, it never comes half the time.
Final word.
The one thing that we've said all show is we are successful this year because we work hard. For whatever reason, we get on the power play, and all of a sudden we're fancy Dans, and we're passing, trying to score the pretty goal. Back to basics, outwork the 4 guys who are on the ice. I think we'll score a couple goals.
There you go. It's great coaching advice, Brad.
Great coaching, great theme of the Flyers this year. They play 200 feet. They're hard to play against. That's what Tortorella wants. That's what he's getting. This has been a great show. One of my favorite guests, my favorite co-host. Chris Irmer produced this program. Great job. Stephen Lawler back at the station. Thank you for all you do. Thank you to Chickies and Pete's for having this great energy, great atmosphere, a million TVs. Brad Marsh, let's do it again next week with Jim Jackson at Rowan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Big Paul. As always, a pleasure, man. Bradley, thank you, buddy.
Fire is Jim Watson's middle name. Hopefully he'll be there for when Lord Stanley's Cup is raised. Maybe this year. Why not? Can't hurt to dream. This has been On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross from Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. We'll see you next week at 6. Until then, have a great week, everybody, and go Flyers!
You've been listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.